On day one of our Adventures by Disney in Japan, we decided to take a walk around Kyoto. Here's a zoomed out map of our route. As I zoom in a little bit, you'll see the Hyatt at the bottom right corner. And there it is, right there at the bottom right corner. I'll explain the route as we go through this as you watch the rest of this video. But we took a pretty good walk, took about half a day. So right out of the Hyatt, the first thing you'll see is just, waking up and seeing the local architecture in Kyoto that we didn't see the night before when we came in. We crossed this bridge because they said there's a 7-Eleven right on the other side of the bridge that we have to go to get some money. And we saw our first temple, and I was so excited to see our first temple, but this was one of many temples you'll see. And of course, here's a 7-Eleven where it's more than in Japan. 7-Elevens are more than the 7-Elevens are in the States. They are just chock full of food. It was a great place actually for me to come get some breakfast for the day before we went for our walk. After we left the 7-Eleven, we went back across the bridge and headed north along the river and just took a stroll right along the river, seeing all kinds of sights, houses along the river, as well as some wildlife along the way. We finally came to this main street, and at this point we wanted to go to the I think it was the Nishiki market, Nishin market, something like that. We took a left and then took a right down this main street that led right into the heart of the market. And here's that market, and you can look it up and they'll tell you where to go. And my first impression of this market was, wow, it was overwhelming. There was just tons of food, tons of merchandise, just food everywhere. And of course, lots of people walking around eating, more food. And, you'll see a lot of people standing when they're eating because there's not a lot of places to sit. Great desserts. You'll get that matcha tea ice cream. And again, merchandise, teacups, and just all manner of things for you to go purchase while you're walking around. There's squid. A lot of really interesting food that you don't normally see in the States. Lots of radish, they had the radish out front where you could just go buy. And again, just dolls, handmade merchandise, handmade dolls, more food. Yep, and even more food. Did I mention they had a lot of food here? Yeah, a lot of food. And, oysters. Oysters are big in Japan. They love their oysters. And at the time we went, it was in October. Chestnuts were out, so I bought some chestnuts. Those were pretty good. Here's some guys selling what was ubiquitously you will see is oyster balls. They just make these balls with oysters and deep fry them up. Had some udon for lunch before we continued on our walk. There's another street, I would just say it's a street shopping center right next to that market, and this is what it looks like inside. It pretty much looks like a mall, but these things are huge. And along the way, again, right next to the mall, there's another temple. Temples are all over the place. I got excited on my first day. I took all these pictures of temples because it was new, but you're going to see a lot of temples on this ABD trip. And I came to my first big crosswalk, and little did I know that when we got to Tokyo, we would see Shibuya Crossing, but this was impressive to me. And if you're looking for the Disney store, it's right here in the right-hand corner. If you look at the map that I have, you'll be able to find it. If you just do a Google map search, you'll find the Disney store. But yeah, that was my first big crowded Kyoto crosswalk. So we continued to head north along the river, and then we came across some neighborhoods that are right next to the river. Really beautiful houses, and we came across some geisha. We found out later these aren't genuine geisha; they're really just tourists. And I saw this car full of Disney merchandise all in the car. They loved it. We headed east toward the mountains where we came across some temples. Again, lots of temples, more temples. And so we're walking east of the river at this point toward the mountains. Great, nice, safe place to go walk and just enjoy the day. This temple is at the top of some very, very, very long stairs. Eventually, we made our way back down to this very old town. Now, this is really cool. This street goes down, it kind of goes down and then up some more stairs. When you get to the top of the stairs, and I'll show you these right now, if you go left at the top of these stairs right here, this is where Disney will take you on day 2 to go to the temple. So we didn't know that, and we actually didn't go that way, so that was good. So yeah, if you go, when you come out, you go left up this street, and you go to the end, there's a temple that you're going to go to the next day. So this street is the one we walk back down toward the hotel and headed back to the hotel, and we saw this temple right before we got back to the hotel. So overall, a really good, relaxing day. Had a nice walk. Everything was great. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and go ahead and look for some future videos that I'm going to post for the rest of this trip. Hope you enjoyed it.